It's a difficult task, being an aspirant as well as making YouTube videos. Right, you have to keep it doing even when you are kind of feeling off and all. So yeah, here we are with the promised analysis video of the exam, and my god, let's begin. uh, I gave slot 1 yesterday, and that's all the data I have, and any data or kind of analysis that I will be giving will be based upon that. So let's begin. Yeah, now coming to the sections, this was the order in which the exam happened. Like, first section was QS, then VALR, then DI. Actually, let me change it. Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah, so next section DILR, and the fourth section is EQ and GK, and the number of questions asked and the time allotted for all of these sections are mentioned here. And anyone from future can take these figures as a reference. And now coming to the difficulty for all those who attempted this time and will be attempting in the future. Let's start with quant. So in quant, it was kind of very similar to cat, I would say. At any point, it was nowhere close to nmat or snap, because there were typical questions like one concept won't be sufficient in order to solve those questions. And although there were few questions that were easier, but that number won't even cross 2 or 3. So definitely at par with cat. And now again, let's talk about cutoff later, and let's move to VALR first. So in VALR, it was typical VALR. It was even easier than what we get in snap, and even the LR was easy, no doubt regarding that. So, and it was kind of on the lines of what was expected, because that's how I got it previous year as well, and this year also it is kind of similar, on the similar lines. So easy, very easy VALR. And now let's move and talk about the elephant in the room, DILR section. Well, actually DI as per what they claim, but now the question was really difficult. I really don't know what happened in slot 2, but the slot 1 paper, it was like kind of very typical questions, and 25 minutes was nowhere even close to sufficient, because the kind of questions and kind of sets that were given were similar to cat level. And you can understand even the topper takes kind of 10 minutes to solve those sets, and for a normal person, the toppers are not writing XGMT, so even a normal person will easily take 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, in order to solve one complete questions. But the time is less. In cat you have 40 minutes, here you have 25 minutes, and there's this surprise factor. Because of that, people panic, and they are like you can't go in with the mindset that you have to solve only one set, right? Because you don't know what is kind of the difficulty and what other people are solving. So you will kind of be in a situation where you will try to solve many questions, but that will kind of hamper your performance overall. So yeah, now coming to DILR as a whole, it was kind of hybrid questions, not pure DI, except for one questions in slot 1 that was based on productivity, sales price and capita, in which people are having doubt whether it was right or wrong. So that was somehow DI, proper DI. But apart from that, all other questions were kind of hybrid DI and logic combined, and it was kind of difficult. That's the whole gist of all those ranting that I did. So let's keep the cutoff for some time, keep it on hold. And now emotional quotient and GK. I don't know how many of you had gone through my previous video that I did on emotional quotient last year, but the questions were on very similar line to what I got last year, and few questions were kind of ditto same. In my previous video, I could have played it, but anyways, let it be. In my previous video, I has mentioned about that a person is kind of sick. Sorry, is in a fight with his boss or kind of feeling low, and he walks back to his home. What should he do? He should play with kids, drink coke, watch movies, or something like that. Like similar kind of questions were asked, and it was kind of difficult. Let me give you that part, because not difficult as in like of decision making of that, and it were of course one liners, but definitely difficult than what you get in study bus mock or career launcher mocks. Because in study bus mocks, what will happen that it is kind of straight away you can eliminate 3 options and you can conclude that okay, this is this. But in here 20 questions were for emotional quotient. In approx 5 to 6 questions there were like you can't really point out to one answers, and everyone can argue against your logic, so you never know what is kind of the answer of that. And in order to give you some gist, I recall one more question, like there is a very good friend of yours and you have to tell him a secret. So what is the distance that you will maintain between you and him? Very close, very extremely close, very close, far, moderate, and far. These were kind of the options. So you see that if these questions are kind of, you never know. I'm not in the position to comment on that, so let's leave that. And now I think I have gone through the difficulty level of all the 4 sections, and of course now let's talk about the difficulty level of the paper as a whole. So I would say the quant part was similar almost, or a little bit difficult than last year. VALR was kind of similar or even easier than what it was given last year, and the emotional quotient and GK part was kind of on the same line as it was asked last year. So but DILR, I must say that it was very, very difficult when compared to last year. I don't know why they did that, but again, so the overall cutoff should fall, no doubt regarding that. And as far as I recall, 46% of the entire marks used to, like, wait a second, there were a total of 20, 25, 40, okay, there were a total of 110 questions. So earlier it was kind of 46% of this was close to 90 percentile, and this year I think it will fall down to 40 or 42% maybe. Yeah. And now, yeah, expected cutoff that we are talking about. See, this was the overall we can talk about in vague terms, but if you get into what will be the expected cutoff section wise, that's kind of very difficult to say even for me, because I kind of screwed up in DI, and I'm kind of very sure that I'm not gonna clear even the sectional cutoff of that. So the first line that I mentioned, that is kind of difficult for an aspirant to make a video as well, because you see these are weird times. Anyways, so yeah, regarding DI, I really have no clue what will be the cutoff, so let's leave it there. And in quant, as I said, that it was on the similar line of previous year or a little bit difficult, so I would say that 4 or 5 questions would be more than sufficient to clear the sectional cutoff. Alright, when I'm talking about sectional cutoff, it is about the gem non-domicile. Alright, and according to that you can look. I really have not that much time, not that much of resources to go in and tell the expected cutoff for every category, 7, 8 or 10 categories, I don't recall how many there are. So yeah, that was the expected cutoff. And DI, that's where I'm gonna jump again. Alright, everyone who is feeling down and kind of is demotivated about how the paper went and the DI section was bad and all, so let me give you some ray of hope. I know that analogy won't fit, but again, that's all I could kind of think of in order to motivate you guys. So this is CAT 2021 DILR score versus DILR percentile, And the reason why I am taking the cat data, because the questions were kind of very similar and the time was less, although one set was slightly easier than cat level, but because the time was less, we can kind of conclude that it was similar on cat. So in order to achieve, you see here, in order to achieve 53.94 percentile, you have to score 7.77 marks. It is similar to 2.5 questions. So so if you did 2 or 3 questions right, I think you should be good to kind of cross the 50 percentile threshold that is required for a call from XIMB Business Analytics. And now let's move to the result part. I think it is supposed to come out on 4th of February, but XIMB is kind of fluid with their dates, so it is kind of not sure. The date is kind of not sure as of yet, so let's expect it somewhere before 11th of February, because they do that thing, talking with experience. And yeah, so that's all I had to say regarding the difficulty and the cutoff and the motivation part. And once we get our results, we will kind of I will come up with a video, and we'll see what is the kind of score and percentile that everyone got. And anyone who wants to discuss further can join our Telegram group. The link will be in the description. Bye, have a nice day.